Today on ELN Morning.
We have student reactions on recent controversial events on campus.
An Elan professor moving back to Canada. Robin Atlas is in studio to talk about her decision to leave the United States.
And we have the co-founders of Phoenix Flops live in studio.
All that and more.
ELN Morning starts right now.
Good morning, Elan. Thanks for starting your day with us, and may the 4th be with you. I'm Paul LeBlanc.
And I'm Rachel Ellis. We start off this morning with updates on recent racially biased events on campus. Some students of color on Elan's campus are taking action after a racially charged incident earlier this week. I talked to two students who want their peers to do more.
Students of color at Elan wore all black on Wednesday following a week of racial tension on campus.
It shows that we're here. It shows we're here, and it shows that we're not going nowhere. And it shows others who are in the fight with us, and it shows that we're not alone.
Student coordinator at the Center for Race, Ethnicity, and Diversity Education and special events coordinator of the Black Student Union, Kenneth Brown Jr. helped organize the display after ELN broke the news that former Sigma Phi Epsilon fraternity president Owen Gaffney used a racial slur towards a black student. In a different incident, a picture surfaced of a student standing on top of the stone plot for Phi Beta Sigma, one of the black fraternities on campus.
Just to see someone kind of disrespect your culture, to kind of just, I don't know what was going through their head at the moment, but just to not think, it hurts.
We spoke with a student in the photo over the phone. She says there was no intention to disrespect the black community and thought that the plot was just a rock, not realizing the significance behind it. But, according to Community Outreach Chair for the BSU, Lena Logan, it's time for students to stand up, regardless of the circumstances.
How many more emails do they have to send out? Like, this is not an administration problem. This is a student, Elan culture problem.
Logan says her experience as a black person at Elan has been vastly different than her white peers, especially this week.
As a black student here on this campus, I am always forced to be in a space that is not mine. And white students don't have to do that because this is a predominantly white institution.
According to Brown, the path forward isn't easy, but starting a dialogue among students is the first step.
What we need on this campus is a true dialogue. We need a true dialogue in order for us to truly understand each other. We have discussions and we have these events, but a lot of these events turn into people are listening and responding to reply to what is said, instead of listening and responding to understand each other.
Rachel Ellis, ELN Morning.
As I mentioned earlier, the Black Student Union has responded to ELN's report that the former president of Sigma Phi Epsilon used a racial slur against a student of color. Austin Meekins, the victim of this slur, is a former member of the fraternity. He spoke with us about the incident.
It's very unfortunate that he's still a member of that fraternity because he did not rectify their actions, their values. As a member previously, I can say that during my 3 to 4 years while I was in, there's not been one occurrence of prejudice or racism towards me or any of my former brothers. And this was a very taken back situation, very personal, it felt like.
Randy Williams, Associate Vice President for Campus Engagement, says the N-word is not one to be taken lightly.
Well, the N-word is connected to that power, that terror. It has been used to oppress people and to remind people of color, specifically blacks, of this inequitable system in which they live in.
You can find full coverage of the incident on our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
Assistant Professor of Music Robin Addis has announced she will be leaving Elan to move back to Canada because of acts of racism directed at her husband. Professor Addis joins us live in the studio right now. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Really appreciate it. So obviously there was a profile in the Elan News Network about this. Would you mind just telling your story for viewers that might have not gotten around to reading it?
Sure. So I came to Elan 4 years ago with my family, and we're all Canadian. My husband's dual citizen, Canadian-Nicaraguan, and pretty much since we moved here, we've been, or he's mostly been, navigating some issues around different treatment because of his skin color, and it's been everything from really small incidents at the post office or at hardware stores where we're just not sure, like, are you being just mean or grumpy? Is this kind of an off day? To things like people throwing bottles and cursing at him when he's standing on our front lawn with our children, and police pulling him over, telling him he's not wearing his seatbelt when he clearly is. So, yeah, at the end of, actually this past fall, sort of early in the semester, we decided we were kind of done and it was time to find another place that was safer for our family. Yeah.
And so if conditions were to change here in the United States, do you think you and your family would ever consider moving back?
I think, honestly, from my perspective, this is such a deep systemic problem, and not just in the US, I mean all over the world, but it's hard to imagine racism ever going away. And I think for us, it's just a question of where can we be in a place where we feel safe and secure, where we really feel home, and where we feel like we can actively make a difference. And it's been wonderful, the reaction to this story, to feel like we are making a difference here, but ultimately, I think in Canada, where we're citizens, we can feel like, you know, we can vote and we can activate within our own culture for change there, rather than being in a place where we ultimately feel kind of insecure.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing a little more about your story.
Thanks for having me.
Really appreciate it. For more information about Professor Addis's story, visit our website, elannewsnetwork.com. And coming up after the break, an online holiday you might not have heard of before.
I'm Shay McCoy, and I'll have some news from around the world when we come back.
Welcome back to ELN Morning. We have Shay McCoy live in studio to give us some news happening off Elan's campus. Shay.
Thanks, Paul and Rachel. Well, first we have the House Republican leaders plan to take the revisions to the Affordable Care Act to a vote today. If the bill passes, it will face a steep climb in the Senate, where widespread disagreement remains among Republicans about how to proceed on health care. Republicans have been working on gaining the votes for health care reform since their attempt to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act failed nearly 2 months ago. If the bill passes, it will face a challenge in the Senate, where there is widespread disagreement among Republicans about how to proceed with health care legislation. Second, we have a member of the royal family is stepping back from royal duties. According to a statement from Buckingham Palace, Prince Philip will stop participating in royal engagements beginning in the fall. The 95-year-old husband of Queen Elizabeth II has been facing health issues this past year. Next, if you have a class project, you may not want to use Google Docs. Hackers targeted Google Doc users with a phishing attack, an easy method for stealing credentials and getting access to people's accounts. Because the malicious app was named Google Docs, it has tricked thousands of people into using it. It's not clear who started the attacks, but Google is investigating the scam. Rachel and Paul, back to you.
Day, but it's not something to celebrate. Technology company Intel created this event as a reminder of unsafe password habits. Our Jamie Snower has more on this unusual holiday.
According to KeeperSecurity.com, 123456 and QWERTY are the world's most popular passwords, but they're not the safest. Elan professor of computing science Megan Squire published an article on password protection. In the article, Squire says having a common password or just not changing it is like having no security at all.
I don't really change my passwords ever.
For junior Paige Cunningham, not changing her passwords led to hacking. Last summer, a hacker redirected all of Cunningham's emails from her Elan account to the hacker's account. Cunningham didn't notice it until she tried to get information about her upcoming semester abroad. The hacker had access to her travel visa.
From that point on, I was always kind of afraid of just doing anything like online with my credit card, even though it had nothing to do with my email.
But Cunningham isn't the only student who's experienced this. Freshman Ashley LaPlaca's email was also hacked.
I would definitely recommend checking your account settings periodically and making sure that it's all your name and everything.
Google provides a security checkup for all users. Visit myaccount.google.com to review your security settings and activity. The checkup allows you to enter a recovery email, check which devices you have recently logged on to, and see which apps and websites have access to your Google account. This service can help you keep your online information protected. Jamie Snover, ELN Morning.
That's good information. I'm usually pretty lazy with my passwords. Do you make complicated ones or do you keep it easy?
I'm fairly consistent with just keeping my same passwords my whole life, but right. National Password Day, it is a reminder that you shouldn't do that.
Let's make them a little more complex.
Let's make a change. So the deadline for high school seniors to make their college decision has passed, and we have the numbers of Elan's class of 2021, According to the admissions office, 19% of the incoming class identifies as ethnically and racially diverse, which is down from 20% in the class of 2020. North Carolina still leads the way as the most represented state, with notable growth from Texas, Florida, Connecticut, New Jersey, and Virginia. More statistics on next year's freshman class will be available as we get closer to move-in day.
Students with historic neighborhood permits will not be able to park in the East Gym lot on East College Avenue due to construction starting next week. Workers will begin construction, to make space for 3 new student dorms and a tennis clubhouse. The project is expected to be done by August 1st of next year. All students must move their vehicles from the lot no later than Sunday, May 7th at 11 p.m. If not, cars will be ticketed and towed. Call campus police at 336-278-5555 if you have any questions.
Members of the Elan community gathered in LaRose Theater to hear from Holocaust survivor and Cleveland State University professor Emeritus Zev Harel. The event was hosted by Pi Alpha Theta, the History Honor Society, and students in the History of the Holocaust class. Harel shared his experience in the concentration camp Auschwitz, his liberation by the U.S. Army, and the lessons he learned throughout his journey.
You are our future. You are the ones who will be able to do what you can to make your communities, to make your state, and to contribute to make this country such that these kinds of things should not occur.
For more about Harel's experience, visit our website at elannewsnetwork.com. And now some new Elan poll results are in about North Carolina issues. In the first poll since the election, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper has a 48% approval rating and a 29% disapproval. Former Governor Pat McCrory's approval rating came in at 46%. 2 out of 3 of North Carolina voters say HB2 has worsened the impact of the state's reputation.
Music and food that's not from the dining hall. The annual food truck frenzy brought hundreds of students to the Corey parking lot on Wednesday. What used to be a small event comprised of only 3 food trucks has grown to 12 trucks that filled up the lot. Elan Student Union Board, also known as SUB, and Elan Dining partnered together to put on this event. SUB Performance Chair Colton Catterat says the growth in turnout for Food Truck Frenzy leaves him hopeful for the future of the event.
Maybe we do it a couple days a week and we have different trucks cycling in and out. Right now it seems like we've sort of exhausted the space. When students are here, like peak hours, there's not much room. So do we expand it to a bigger parking lot, or do we do multiple days and try to get students to come out?
Coming up, the co-creators of a student-produced documentary talk about what their film is like live in studio.
Well, I think we're finally there. Consistently warm weather, I think. Are we there yet?
We're in summer. It's summertime. I don't know what we're still doing at school.
Yeah.
It's time for summer break.
Well, you're from Miami, so you're all skewed.
Yeah. So we have Maya Eglin live under the oaks with our Phoenix 5-day forecast to tell us if summer is actually really here.
It's a little chillier than I expected it to be, so you might want to grab a light jacket for the rest of the day. Let's take a look at downtown Elan. This morning we saw some beautiful, beautiful blue skies. You know, if you can get outside, a break from studying today, definitely would recommend. It's going to be lovely. So we've got a high of 75 and a low of 58. There's a chance of some afternoon showers, so grab your umbrella just in case. Friday, we're going to have a high of 71 and a low of 48 with some partly cloudy skies. Saturday, we're going to see a high of 67 and a low of 47 with another chance of showers, but the sun is going to come out on Sunday with a high of 67 and a low of 44. You're going to definitely need a jacket then. Monday, we're going to see a high of 66 and a low of 44, again with some sun. And Tuesday, we'll jump back up to 70 with a low of 54. So good luck on your exams. Grab your light jacket, but we'll see the sun coming up next week closer to exams. So guys, back to you.
Thanks, Maya. Now, while the warm weather on campus will certainly bring out some smiles, it will also bring out some furry friends. I have more on Elan's unofficial mascot.
Spring has sprung at Elan. That means more green grass, more time by the fountains, and more squirrels.
Yeah, I think they know that they own this area.
Elan squirrels probably aren't like the ones you've been around before. According to sophomore Fletcher Rowe, the creatures have gained a reputation of being unafraid.
I'll like walk and I'll expect it to run away and it doesn't. It just knows that I'm here.
But according to Elan biology professor Dave Gammon, the squirrel behavior at Elan makes sense.
So they come right up close to humans. And really what they're doing is just adapting to the human presence and to the trees that we put here.
And with that adaptation comes a clash.
I had one jump on my bike tire while I was biking. And it was really funny to see that little thing go, oh, and it zooms because the wheel rotates and off goes the squirrel. Poor guy.
But while Elan squirrels can get in the way, the community still has love for their unofficial mascot.
I love squirrels. I think they're here, they're hanging out, they're just a friend of nature.
Have fun with them, enjoy them, watch them, learn from them.
Paul LeBlanc, Elan Local News.
For more on squirrel behavior, visit our website, elannewsnetwork.com.
Phoenix Flops, a student-produced documentary exploring the themes of overcoming failure and resilience, will be premiering tonight at 6 p.m. in Turner Theater. Last week, we gave you a preview of the film. Here's another sneak peek.
That realization that what we set out to do initially wasn't wrong, but had to be retooled periodically throughout the race. And it was our responsiveness that eventually led to our success.
Failure shapes your success. You know, without failing first, what is success to you? What does it actually mean to you?
You have to be able to know, like, this is part of my DNA, this is inside of me, I want to put these types of hours into it. And the sooner you can find that, the faster you can start to build that resiliency into the things you're involved with.
And if you want to see the full film, it premieres tonight at 6 p.m. in Turner Theater. And we have co-founders Caroline Dean, Keith DeWitt, and Tyson Glover live in studio. Welcome, guys. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Tyson, can you tell me a little bit about where this really interesting idea came from?
Yeah, so we actually started talking about this back in August, if you can believe it. It's kind of crazy that it's here in May, and it's actually, today is the day that it's premiering. And it started as a conversation about resiliency and are Elan students able to fail and sort of bounce back, that idea of bouncing back after failure, you know, picking yourself off, dusting yourself off. And what the research told us during this discussion, actually at a dinner, was that Elan students aren't the best at that. They're not the best at getting back up from a failure. And we sort of looked at the culture we have on campus here of perfectionism, always being busy, always going, and also looking at how we portray ourselves on social media. And we decided, let's create a discussion about finding the most, Elan famous people. And instead of saying, how are you successful? Let's ask them, when did you flop? When did you fail? Because we all fail.
And is that pin that you're wearing a
Yes.
flop and a flop?
Yes, this is the official flop pin.
Very nice.
Yes.
So can you guys tell me a little bit about where this idea came from? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I actually remember Tyson came up to me, I figured where
It was a Doba.
Yeah,
It was a line for Doba.
And he said, I got this great idea to make this documentary. And, he had seen some documentary work that I and Caroline had worked on before. And he I was just like, are you in? I was like, yeah, I'm in, let's do it. It was very, nonchalant. And then like going into winter break and coming back from it in January term, we just kind of like hit the ground running with it. And just kind of like with each day as it went forward, we just kind of got more and more progress with it, so.
And what's the process been like putting this documentary together?
Yeah, I would say the process has been difficult to say the least. I mean, we had a lot of flops along the way as well, so we're really attesting to that. But also the higher administration has been really great. Like Dean Patterson, Health and Wellness has been really great, kind of standing behind us and helping this become a movement and supporting us from that end. So it just takes that perseverance and keeping pressing on until what the vision that you have in store like comes to fruition.
I think to go off on that too, I mean, I think I sent 35 emails between myself and President Lambert's staff to try to get him in this. So we're really glad that that we were able to get him, and also getting Turner Theater was another thing. So just to attest to that, the entire process has been great.
Yeah. Well, wonderful. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And as the year winds down, you might be wondering how you can spend your downtime. Our Jamie Snover is in the studio to tell us what's happening in Phoenix athletics.
Thanks, Paul and Rachel. Baseball, softball, lacrosse, and track and field are the only teams still in season as the year comes to an end. Tuesday night, Phoenix baseball fell 10-3 to UNC Greensboro, the team with the third highest batting average in Division I baseball. However, Elan is looking to recover that loss as they head to New York for a 3-game series against Hofstra University this Friday through Sunday. Softball is also on the road, but closer to home. The team heads to Virginia for a 3-game series against James Madison University this Friday and Saturday. With their 2 wins this past weekend, softball improved their record 9-8, securing their spot in the Colonial Athletic Association tournament. Number 3 women's lacrosse is competing against number 2 Towson in the CAA semifinals this Friday at 6:30 p.m. And that's all the Phoenix athletics I have for you this week. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Jamie. We'll keep an eye out for those games this weekend.
And after the break, we have Eason Warren live in studio to perform his brand new song.
Welcome back to ELN Morning. We have guitarist Eason Warren here in the studios. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Of course.
And I understand you're playing a song that you just wrote this week.
Yeah, actually about 2 days ago.
Wow,
so
okay.
That's
exciting. And this song is a part of an album that's coming out
May 26th.
May 26th. What's it called?
It's called Just Before the Train. I did it with my band partner, Rosie Darling.
Okay.
We're really excited for it.
Very good. Awesome. Well, we're going to let you play it out.
Cool.
Thank you so much. And thank you for staying with us all semester long. Excuse me.
And for continuing coverage of all the news you need to know, check out our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
And check out our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Elan News Network.
Have a great summer, Elan. Eason, take it away.
Thank you.
So the story goes, I've heard, but now I feel I'm growing old, but I'll be better still. And all my days were spent in a haze that came and went. When it lifted, I found that I'm the only one that's left. And all my friends, they've changed. I see how we've aged, and let my loneliness forgive me. as I speak of the glory days, and I won't slow and go and walk away. Lord, forgive me for my sins and my wicked ways, and who will take my place when I'm a world away? And I won't slowly go, I won't slowly go, and I won't slowly go and walk away. Lord, forgive me for my sins and my wicked ways, and who will take my place when I'm a world away? And I won't slowly go, won't slowly go. Oh, 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 oh.